business at their Delta dealership. Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
The Decalibron. Neither an ancient Greek sport nor a machine of science fiction, it's a hiking trail that gets its name from the full syllables of Mounts Democrat, Cameron, Lincoln, and Ross. 14 is connected by a single ridge. The Decalibron Loop is only 7 miles long but encompasses more than 3,100 feet of elevation. Experienced hikers can use the Decalibron to bag all 4 peaks in a single day. Mount Ross may be the hardest part.
I did that. Never kind of like a cross that ridge they're talking about.
With loose, slippery stones or screen. Slipping and sliding is a given. Part of the land is private, so hikers use the bypass trail just below Ross's actual
I did this
summit.
trail that
Thanks
they're
to
talking about,
nonprofit,
where you hit
public access is
314ers.
secured for all who want to take
Oh, yeah.
the Decalibron. A Colorado postcard from member-supported Colorado Public Radio. Join the effort that makes possible everything you love listening to at CPR.org.
Here's a quick tip with your fundraising and morning edition. Check the weather before you try to take on the Decalibron at this time of year. Things can happen.
No shit, dude.
Good morning, I'm Chuck Murphy, CPR News investigative editor. I'm joined by reporter Dan Boyce from Colorado Springs. And now is your chance to show your support for Colorado Public Radio. Please give at CPR.org.
And thank you if you are a current member, you're supporting those just little moments of delight like our Colorado postcards. And if you have never donated before, it is quick, easy, and important
sued Pezeshkian and said Israel was trying to, quote, trap Iran into a broader conflict by attacking its most powerful proxy. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called Iran an existential threat to Israel in the past. But something that analysts I spoke to said it was more like Israel was calling Iran's bluff, you know? Israel has been on a remarkable role militarily in Gaza, now in Lebanon. Although major questions have been raised about that is violating international law and failing to protect civilians in the prosecution of its wars. And Hezbollah was seen as a formidable fighting force so far in this conflict. It's been back-footed by Israel against all expectations. And, now we have Iran's president taking a softer tone at the UN, even re-upping Iran's offer to enter into nuclear talks again, perhaps because of this crisis.
NPR's Jackie North. Thank you, Jackie.
Thanks so much.
Support for NPR comes from this station and from C3 AI. C3 Generative AI works to enable rapid access to tracing and hallucination-free insights from enterprises using any LLM, helping turn the invisible into the obvious. This is Enterprise AI. From the Walton Family Foundation, working to create access to opportunity for people and communities by tackling tough social and environmental problems. More information is at waltonfamilyfoundation.org. From your part-time controller, the nonprofit accounting specialists providing financial management services to support stronger nonprofits who make the world a better place. Learn more at yetc.com/NPR. And from the Doris Duke Foundation.
My name is Samantha Orta, and I'm based in Denver, Colorado. And I'm an NPR because I feel like it's almost like my best friend every morning, and provides me a really fresh sound of the world and my community. And would love to be part of a community of people who are really passionate about good reporting and fairness.
We all need access to fair, trustworthy information. Be part of securing access to the deeply researched reporting you will need this election season. CPR is not immune to the economic challenges facing most news organizations right now. And that means that you are vital. You count on and value CPR's approach to journalism. So be the next new donor that helps make it happen at CPR.org.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump have laid out plans to address housing prices and access. Harris says she'll provide first-time homebuyers who meet certain criteria with $25,000 for a down payment.
Home ownership and what that means, it's a symbol of the pride that comes with hard work.
He's also calling for the construction of 3 million Serves social work at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He studies housing and the causes and effects of homelessness.
The reason we have an affordable housing shortage is not because of people moving from California, but it is added pressure on the market.
I'm at bar at a low-income apartment complex, just blocks from the shiny hotels that tower over the Las Vegas Strip.
You can see Resorts World, one of the newer casino complexes, and we're right by the Strat, one of our recognizable landmarks and sort of tourist destinations. You know, I think it's an interesting juxtaposition here to see this place, which does provide that needed service, but also notoriously files a lot of evictions.
Data from Zillow shows that across the country, rent has gone up 30% in recent years. In Nevada, that number is higher. The state is currently in need of between 60 and 80,000 affordable rental units. That's according to state housing data. Barr says higher rents mean median wage earners are spending about half of their paycheck on rent. That makes it harder to pay for basic necessities.
There is no way to solve the problem without more supply. Everyone understands that. From social workers like me to economists, everyone understands that there is a supply side issue.
And while conditions are tough for renters and first-time homebuyers right now, he says he does feel hopeful about the issue. You're here talking about it. We see the Harris campaign talking about it. That's very encouraging. We didn't see that in the past. So I think it's finally filtering up that this is a structural problem. It's going to require structural solutions, not just better, quote, individual decisions. Tomorrow we asked workers in Las Vegas whether a proposal to get rid of income tax on tips would change who they vote for, as our reporting from Nevada continues.
NPR is bringing you stories about really getting into the nitty-gritty of where these candidates stand on issues like taxing on tips, like trying to figure out more.
receipt, please?
Can. As soon as you touch that button, then I touch this button, and then I'll give you guys receipts.
As long as you don't touch my buttons, we're fine. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Have a good morning, you guys. Thank you.
I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a singer-songwriter.
That one right there. Got one.
I'm a singer-songwriter comedian. I'm just waiting for the opportunity. Sorry.
You're okay. Got it. All right, that will be 25 each.
I'm a singer-songwriter comedian. I'm just waiting for the opportunity. That's pretty good stuff. What did you say?
Search by Nick Molden.
Molden says lots of
I thought you said you
people
couldn't.
distorted his work on tire
Yeah, I remember.
kind of emissions
I used to buy
to
a
make it
carton
seem
for
like
$5.
greenhouse gas emissions are
before
much
my
higher from EVs.
Before my time, too.
In this case, the idea that EVs are worse for the planet only makes sense if you ignore the existence of climate change. Molden says the benefits of EVs are clear, but there are trade-offs.
Those people misuse
Wow,
it don't bring
great.
out that tension. They conflate and blur and obfuscate and
Like I say, I have
play
that
fast and
popcorn.
loose with the definitions, and that's completely wrong.
EVs do create tire emissions. Lots of electricity does
One of the
come
dead
from
ones I've
fossil
had.
fuels. Batteries require mining. Analysts say these are good arguments for smaller cars, cleaner grids, more transit. What they are not is an environmental case for gas cars, because EVs are still cleaner than gas. I was curious whether these growing doubts are hurting EV sales. But the data from Ipsos shows the number of people thinking of buying EVs is holding steady, and those people still believe they're green. It's people who don't want EVs anyway who are getting more skeptical. That makes perfect sense to Austin Hill, who lives in Missouri, where he said lots of people think an EV is just not for them.
We hear something like, actually, it's not even good for the environment, we're more likely to kind of latch onto that because that makes us feel better about that decision.
The decision they'd already made to stick with gas. Meanwhile, Kempen has decided EVs probably are good for the planet, but he's not in the market for one. Sticker prices and having a place to charge are such big roadblocks.
It wouldn't really matter to us if it was green or not because it seems kind of out of reach.
distributes classic films, ones like Citizen Kane.
I sympathize with you. Charles Foster Kane is a scoundrel. His paper should be run out of town. A committee should be formed to boycott him.
And 1933's King Kong.
Airplanes got it. Oh, no. It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast.
Criterion filled a closet with its collection of restored movies, then filmed a bunch of Hollywood types inside the closet, rummaging around and talking about their favorite films.
They made it into an online video series called Closet Picks. Peter Becker is president of the Criterion Collection.
It's exactly what it sounds like. There's a closet in our office where we keep all of the DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks that we've released. It's our product closet.
And he says now that closet is going on tour to mark the company's 40th year in business.
We've built a replica of the Criterion Closet in a delivery van. It has all of the same films in the same order, and it's all set up like the Criterion Closet. And bring the closet to people who'd like to visit it.
The mobile closet starts out at the New York Film Festival this weekend. If you go, browse quickly, in 3 minutes inside.
So you won't actually have time to watch films like Sanjuro, the samurai classic. Or the beguiling Hong Kong romance, In the Mood for Love.
It's this incredible selection of films that's in an order that seems almost random. There's no immediately visible rhyme or reason. It's quite a mixed up jumble of just great films.
Criterion's Closet Picks started about a decade ago with Cole, who directed Hellboy.
He went through the whole closet, got excited about a bunch of things, put them, in his tote bag, and at the very end of it, as he was, kind of wrapping up, it's a very small robbery.
Now, Becker says, film lovers can stop in just to browse.
People used to do,
And I don't want to do an ad here, but if you have a friend, a spouse, or a child like I do who loves film, Criterion is the place to go. It's an amazing resource for old films, current films, interesting films that may have not gotten the public acclaim that others get. Good morning, I'm CPR News investigative editor Chuck Murphy. I'm along with reporter Dan Boyce from Colorado Springs, and we're here to thank you, first of all, for choosing Colorado Public Radio. Right now is the perfect time for you to go from listener to active supporter. Donate now at CPR.org.
And if you are an active and regular CPR listener, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Listening, it can really make your day. You feel more informed. You hear about interesting people and places. You learn something that you just never expected to hear, those driveway moments that we all treasure. Listening can change how you see the world, and so we're asking that you support this exploration with a contribution today. Donating is quick and easy. Just go to cpr.org, or you can call us 800-496-1530.
That's 800-496-1530. And yeah, Dan, but I think our audience already knew listening can change how they see the world. They're regulars here. They listen to Morning Edition every day. This is part of their routine every day. What they might not have known is that by supporting that today, they could win a trip to France. It's daily breakfast, 3 specialty dinners, round-trip airfare from Denver, plane plus the train travel throughout France. Your support for Colorado Public Radio is your instant entry to win. Give now at CPR.org.
How do you start your day, and how does CPR fit into that? For me, I usually get up sometime, say in the 5 o'clock hour, and I'll pop on CPR as I'm getting going, making my first cup of coffee. I happen to be a pour over fan, so if that's your method of coffee, then donate in honor of pour over coffee. So then I'll read for a while, and then CPR is on again as I get showered and changed for the day. Maybe if you like a French press, donate as well. How does CPR fit into your day? Take a moment, show your support right now at CPR.org.
However, we're happy to have you if you use instant coffee. We're happy to have you if you have a Black & the team, like Carol in Boulder, like Emily and Zach in Aurora, like Laurie in Denver. They've all jumped in today to give to CPR, and every donation matters. Your donation matters. Contribute now at CPR.org, and you can get entered to win that trip to France.
Maybe you just have a glass of water to start your day. That's okay.
You have to have a
Welcome
title.
in. CPR would love to have you supporting us today. And you're supporting work from all over the state. Like me and our team in Southern Colorado. It includes me and also the whole news team at KRCC, bringing you stories that matter across the rest of the state. Say, Pueblo's unsuccessful attempt to ban free syringe exchange programs, the drama around the neighborhood noise from the state's newest major music venue, the Ford Amphitheater. When we approach these Southern Colorado stories, we try to think carefully about what subjects will be relevant for the whole state. That's the case in Colorado Springs. That's the case for our team in Grand Junction and the whole of the Western Slope. You're listening right now, so act right now. Support trustworthy news coverage from all over the state. Donate at CPR.org or call us 800-496-1530.
That's 800-496-1530, and it even extends beyond the state's borders, Dan.
Snowmaking machines.
Coming up, you're going to hear a couple of terrific features from our local newsroom. One of them on an effort in Washington to finally compensate the folks who are known as downwinders, those who were downwind of nuclear testing, those who supplied the essentially the fuel for the nuclear arms race, who have been impacted from that as a result. Another one on changes coming to Hispanic Heritage Month. And at this time, you also have an opportunity to give and win a week in France with stops in Paris, Bordeaux, and the French Riviera. You can enter to win that trip to France with or without a gift. Find the complete rules at CPR.org.
Hispanic Heritage Month, which started on September 15th, will probably never be renamed Latinx Month. CPR's Elaine Tassi reports a Pew Research Center study published this month reveals very few bilingual people who define as Hispanic and Latino are using the term Latinx.
It also found about half are not even familiar with it. Mark Hugo Lopez directs race and ethnicity research at the center. He co-authored the report.
While Latinx may have risen in popularity, for the most part, about half of the U.S. Hispanic population, the very people expected to spread, they've not
How many people have not used it before?
And among those who have, we find that about 75% say that they're not frequently used in this half of the population.
He said the term became more widely known after the Pulse nightclub shooting in Florida.
How many people at night come by and grab those bags of soda and stuff? I don't even think they care. Unless there's a camera up there.
I think if somebody was going to come by and grab that stuff, they would have done it already.
She's an executive director of Colorado People's Alliance, or COPA.
Well, I'm talking about a bag or two.
Immigrant, economic, and climate
I'm talking about a couple bags.
And really empowering directly impacted communities to have a say and be an active part in addressing barriers and finding solutions to improve their lives.
She says the research findings are no different from what she's noticed.
Like, I don't know if like a lot of communities that like we work with or serve generally like use that. I often just see that more in like professional spaces and not so much in like colloquial spaces. Like, but I've also heard Latin people like moving to like the X is to be a little bit more gender inclusive. I mean, I generally refer to myself as Mexican American, not even Latinx.
The study also found that the term Latina is even less popular than Latinx. Only about 1% report using it. I'm Elaine Tassi, CPR News.
Support comes from The Sharp End, providing wood-grain sharpening for knives, scissors, garden, shop, and hand tools. Co-located at the Pink Store in Valley Plaza, 2454 Highway 6 and 50 in Grand Junction. Support comes from College Invest. It's back to school today, but off to college before long. College Invest 529 savings accounts are eligible for a Colorado tax deduction. Learn exists because you support it. Plain and simple, start supporting today. You'll be instantly entered to launch the trip to France. Enter with a automatic gift. See rules and details at CPR.org.
Support for NPR comes from the station and from Americans United for Separation of Church and State. For more than 75 years, AU has supported freedom without favor and equality without exception. Learn more at au.org/NPR. From Procter & Gamble, Liquid Revive. Revive Nerve Relief is designed to reduce occasional nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort enhanced with orthopedic agent. Learn more at revivehealth.com. And from the sustaining members of this NPR station.
Who prosecutors had come to believe was innocent.
Marcellus Williams was put to death last night by lethal injection around 6 p.m. Central Time following several last-ditch legal efforts to save his life.
St. Louis Public Radio's Rachel Lippman has been following the police television story about Marcellus has brought a lot of attention to the use of the death penalty. First, though, if you could give us some background on this case.
Marcellus Williams was convicted of a 1998 murder of a former newspaper reporter. There was never any forensic evidence, things like DNA, fingerprints, or hair that connected him to the scene. Police were able to find some blood.
Saw a picture of that slide on the Google. It popped up on the local news. Wasn't that big. I mean, it closed the highway for the day, but it wasn't that big. That rock slide that happened right back there.
Yeah.
Democrat Wesley Bell, who's currently the St. Louis County prosecutor and presumptive next congressman from Missouri's 1st District.
It didn't look like there was very many big rock. It was all pretty much, stuff that could move around with machinery.
You can turn that heater down if you want. You can turn the heater down if you want to.
My feet are cold.
No?
My feet are cold.
Okay. You can turn it up if you want to.
I can turn it down a little bit.
No, turn it off.
Someone who's convicted of murder. So, how do the results of DNA testing complicate efforts to free
DNA that they pulled from the murder weapon came back consistent with two former employees of the county prosecutor's office, the prosecutor and the attorney who took the case to trial. Both of them later admitted that they had touched the weapon without wearing gloves. That meant possible contamination of any DNA evidence that could exclude Williams as the killer, but it did also rule out
children were children from LGBTQ families. But the preschools wanted to be a part of Colorado's new state-funded preschool program. A federal judge ruled the state in favor back in June. Well, the preschools appealed, and the case is likely headed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Ann Shimke is a reporter for Chalky, Colorado, who's followed the story, and she joins me right now. Ann, good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Ann. So tell us, what led to this lawsuit against the state by the two Catholic parishes that run the preschools?
Yeah, so like you said, back in 2023, Colorado started its free preschool program, and it invited public preschools to join and private preschools to join. They would all be getting public money to educate 4-year-olds across the state. Among the private preschools that invited to join were religious preschools, and the two Catholic preschools at the center of this case, they did want to join the program. with the lower court ruling, those rules would remain in place, and the Catholic preschools would have to abide by them if they join. If, for some reason, the appeals court goes the other direction, it would allow
that ridge has seen a lot of rocks up
preschools and
there.
perhaps other religious schools that have not joined the program to join, and also they could make rules that keep out students based on their family's sexual orientation or gender identity or the child's own identity.
Now, could this case have an impact outside of Colorado, and if so, what might that entail?
Yeah, so the experts I've talked to said this is the type of case that could go to the U.S. Supreme Court. There's also very similar cases unfolding right now based out of Maine and Vermont. So one of those cases perhaps could end up at the Supreme Court. But in the last several years, the Supreme Court has become more conservative and more sympathetic to religious liberty arguments and moved away from the strict separation of church and state. Obviously, if this case or another one like it goes to the Supreme Court, it is going to have ramifications for the entire country. And if they uphold non-discrimination rules based on sexual orientation or gender identity, obviously that would have made a major impact. And on the flip side, if they overturn those rules, that would really set the stage for public funding to go to schools that do not have to abide by non-discrimination rules.
Well, it's Em Shimke. She's a reporter with Chalkbeat, Colorado. You can follow her work at chalkbeats.org/Colorado. And thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Operation by Azerbaijan's military drove
that's the fourth state trooper I've seen go by.
from their homes in the Eastern Territory of Nagorno-Karabakh.
I mean, granted, they do have a main office in Steamboat, but
failing to help. And that story next time on.
There's 3 other highways leaving.
Join us weekdays at 2 and 7 o'clock.
Yeah, they're going to get busy.
91.5 KUNC.
A lot of people out here tonight.
KUNC is supported by your sustaining membership and by Go's Funeral Care, locally owned and operated.
I'm not against them fucking patrolling this road more, but because there's a lot of accidents, unnecessary accidents, because people drive like idiots.
That's what I mean. Is that a cat?
It's like a dog.
October 6th. Tickets at lctix.com.
Earlier this year, mistakes on the
What if it's one of those ones we were seeing together?
access to federal financial aid. And to many fewer
I forgot where that was at.
Could have been a deer. Small deer.
That's in 15 minutes as morning edition continues. Along with other front range and eastern plains, sunny and today, highs in the mid-80s. It's 8:59. The Marketplace Morning Report is next.
Choice for companies being political or apolitical.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business, aiming to help save time by offering smart business buying solutions so there's more time to focus on growing the business and less time doing the admin. More at AmazonBusiness.com.
I'm David Broadcaster in Los Angeles. First, Kamala Harris is set to speak in Pittsburgh today in what's being billed as a major economic speech. Donald Trump addressed the economy yesterday. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall is with us. Nancy, let's start with Vice President Harris. She's under pressure to come up with more econ details.
Well, in an email, a senior campaign official told me Harris will portray herself as for the middle class, contrasting her middle class upbringing with Donald Trump's background. The advisor said she plans to say, quote, for Donald Trump, our economy works best if it works for those who own the big skyscrapers, not those who build them.
Any details of these economic plans yet?
The advisor didn't go into too many details, David, but did talk about what Harris calls an opportunity economy, and that involves things like lowering costs and investing in American innovation. The campaign says Harris will outline details on making sure the U.S. quote leads the world in manufacturing.
And former President Trump spoke about the economy as well in Savannah, Georgia.
He did. Trump also talked about shoring up U.S. manufacturing. He says he would bring jobs back that were offshore to other countries.
With the vision I'm outlining today, not only will we stop our businesses from leaving for foreign lands, but under my leadership, we're going to take other countries' jobs.
And Trump said he would set up special zones of federal land for American producers, expedite environmental approvals, and appoint a manufacturing ambassador to convince companies to relocate factories to the U.S.
Stock indexes are now mixed. The Dow is down 154 points, 0.4%. S&P little change. The Nasdaq is up 0.4%. Amid the ongoing strike by voice performers for video games, the SAG-AFTRA union is stopping work for a company that provides voices for the popular League of Legends game franchise. The union accuses Formosa Interactive of using a shell company to use non-union talent. The company says it is not undermining union rights. Disclosure: journalists here at Marketplace are represented by the SAG-AFTRA union under a different contract.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Clear Channel Outdoor, an out-of-home billboard company that offers data-driven advertising solutions for businesses big and small. Billboardsforbusiness.com. And by Parents Streetwise Content, hosted by Parents Associate Editor Jack Howe, offering insights each week on business leaders and trend spotters. Available everywhere.
This fall, we're looking at political polarization in America, specifically the role companies play in intensifying or easing political divides. This week we heard the argument that companies should respectfully but firmly discourage on-the-job talk about politics and controversial issues. Today the complex results when companies try that. Alison Taylor is executive director of the think tank Ethical Systems, who teaches at the NYU Stern School of Business. Welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
It is a divided country. We know this from public opinion surveys. We know this from picnics with the extended family. Is this polarized environment a special challenge to businesses in your experience?
One thing that's very interesting is that up until about 2013 or 2014, we had a pretty clear consensus that business should not get involved in contentious political issues. There's that famous joke from the 90s, the Republicans buy sneakers too, Michael Jordan said. And then in 2018, 2019, there was a real rise in CEOs speaking up and taking positions on everything from climate change to immigration to human rights. And then, as we know, after Putin invaded Ukraine, lots of pressure on businesses to pull out of Russia. And since then, issues have become a lot more complicated, and I think leaders have become much more hesitant.
Well, there's that club of CEOs called the Business Roundtable that you well know. And some years ago, there was I think a path-breaking statement that they made that it's not just shareholder value. We have to consider many different groups of stakeholders, employees, the community, the earth. I gotta say, here in 2024, I'm not seeing that business roundtable
the Greater Derby
led to widespread change.
I just happen to have a demolition derby with graders for heavy equipment.
A lot of academics pointed out that this statement did not seem to have much substance, not least because many of the CEOs have not consulted their boards or made formal
They had a story on the radio one day about someplace out east, some fucking old town. And they have a demolition derby, but they brought out like big combines and fucking huge tractor equipment and stuff like that. And it was like a monster demolition derby. It sounded like it was fun as shit. But it's like after it's over, there's just a big pile of carnage metal that they load up on flatbeds and take to the scrapyard.
Are we gonna go on a road trip today, or are we just gonna go back home?
Dude, I'm not letting you in if you're gonna run me.
Are we gonna go straight home, or are we gonna go on a road trip? Huh?
I didn't really plan on any road trips or anything.
Okay.
I mean, you wanted to go to Walmart and stuff, right?
Yeah. I don't think that's going to take all that long. I was thinking of all the fall leaves changing. It's up to you. Want to go home? Let's go home.
She cited was from the spring of 2021. The software company's founders apologized and pledged to learn from the controversy.
Isn't there a U.S. bank in Steamboat?
In Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio.
Everything's changed.
Yeah. Can't believe Kmart went under. Wow. Jesus.
KUNC is supported by your sustaining membership and by UNC School of Theater Arts and Dance, presenting Mookie, a musical painting a portrait of people in everyday jobs set to modern music, October 3rd through 13th in Norton Theater. Tickets at unco.edu. And by the Colorado Sun, presenting Sun.
You know, there's probably going to get arrested over there at the bridge, don't you?
Together to discuss what makes up Colorado.
Jason's ex-girlfriend.
coloradosun.com/sunfest.
And he asked me, he's like, so is you like the same people? I'm like, yeah, generally it's about the same 5 or 6 people that are hanging out. He's like, well, there's a lot more than that. I'm like, well, you know, I'm not here all the time. And I told him about the guy the other day that was across the bridge, across the creek, walking back and forth with his cell phone. He's like, well, they probably pinned him where the drugs were and he was looking for them. I'm like, well, that totally would make sense. I was joking with him. He's like, you know, the technology nowadays. I'm like, you know, I didn't even think about that. You just totally taught me something new.
Somebody else probably picked him up.
I mean, that's smart, because then you could just like go out in the middle of fucking nowhere, drop them under a rock, get your GPS coordinates, and send them to somebody else.
Yeah.
They go pick them up.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's actually pretty quiet for 9 o'clock.
Ballistic missile into central Israel today, saying they were targeting the headquarters of Israel's spy agency in Tel Aviv. The Israeli military says it's the first time this has happened and that the missile was intercepted. Israel has been launching hundreds of airstrikes in Lebanon targeting Hezbollah militants. The Lebanese Ministry of Health says more than 550 people have been killed in Lebanon since Monday. NPR's Jackie Northam reports there's increasing concern.
You ever heard of the BMO
Hezbollah's
bank?
key backer, Iran, could enter into the fray.
Hezbollah is seen as a guard dog for Iran, protecting its key backer from getting drawn into a regional war. But Israel's devastating attacks on Hezbollah are leaving Iran
I was thinking like Buttman outstanding.
vulnerable. A former U.S. intelligence official who spent decades focused on Iran and the Middle East says fighting a war couldn't come at a worse time for Iran.
It would directly threaten their domestic, national, economic, and political challenges. Iran has got a terrible economy, new president, leadership transition on the horizon. This is the worst possible time for the war.
Iran would also face the specter of the U.S. military backing Israel if a broader regional war broke out. Jackie Northam, NPR News.
Forecasters say tropical storm Helene is moving into the Gulf of Mexico. Jack Bevan is a senior specialist with the National Hurricane Center. He says Helene is gaining strength.
We anticipate it's going to become a hurricane later today, sometime in the next 6 to 12 hours as it moves near Yucatan out into the Gulf of Mexico. After that, we are expecting steady to rapid intensification as the storm moves towards the Florida Gulf Coast, or the Florida Big Bend region and the northeast Gulf Coast.
However, moments ago, the National Hurricane Center announced that Helene has now developed into a Category 1 hurricane. Former President
So if they have a
Donald
Big
Trump
Bend,
has been
Florida, do they have a
campaigning in
Little
Georgia.
Bend?
Yesterday, he focused on some of his economic messages.
They have a
NPR's
Big
Stephen
Bend,
Fowler
Florida. Do they have a Little
reports.
Bend?
In a speech that was
Over in
mostly
Oregon.
about taxes and manufacturing, Trump claimed his economic
No, a
plans
Little
would
Bend,
see
Florida.
record numbers of manufacturing jobs
I don't know.
return to the
I
U.S. if
think
he's
it's kind
elected.
of funny.
For years we watched other countries steal our jobs. Now we are going to be going after their jobs and bringing them back to America where they belong and where, frankly, they want to be.
How? By lowering corporate taxes and raising tariffs on imported goods and on entities. Many economists say Trump's plans, especially tariffs, could lead to higher prices for Americans.
It will. I said it will because he imposes a bunch of tariffs. Where do you think that cost is going to go? The manufacturer's not going to pay. He's going to pass it along to the consumer. Whoever buys the car is going to pay that extra money.
He's probably the one that sent him over there anyway.
He is. A lot of them.
Huh?
He is. A lot of them.
Figured as much. Laying the system and making money. Set everything else with fast forward today. Say nothing like that guy this first.
Trump wants to have an American economy and then a separate global economy. It doesn't work that way. I mean, if we weren't a global society, yeah, it would. But we are a global society. We rely on everybody around the world to help everybody else.
He's just saying that to get him reelected.
I'm just thinking of all the stuff that we get imported,
Cindy would have had
which is like 85% of our fucking
Cindy would have had
retail.
Would have had a sister. Probably would have looked that girl over there. With long hair, looked just like her.
I could not believe that light waited for us.
We can just look at this kind of the status.
Doesn't even look like we were in it.